NBC's Julie Sirkin is reporting from the Hill. NBC's Garrett Hake is reporting from the White House. Also with us, MSNBC host Jonathan Capehart, associate editor for the Washington Post and a Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist. Welcome to everybody. Julie, who are the senators we should be watching most closely tonight to determine whether Hegseth gets over the finish line?
Well, you heard Trump say Mitch McConnell. Certainly he is somebody that we are still watching, although he did vote along with other Republicans to advance his nomination yesterday. All but those two, Collins and Murkowski, actually voted against that motion to proceed yesterday, which essentially means that we expect them to stick by their vote today, especially with those scathing statements. But in addition to Mitch McConnell, there are a couple others who are uncertain about Hegseth, and they've felt this way, to be clear, for months. It's his alcohol abuse, the allegations from the woman in Monterey that Hegseth had denied. It's the allegations disclosed in this affidavit this week for the first time, signed by somebody on the record, but they still need more, especially when it comes to crossing the man who now occupies the White House across Pennsylvania Avenue and is certainly putting pressure on these senators not to cross him. Take a listen to what Senator Thom Tillis had to tell us this week. Watch.
I go through extensive due diligence. If people want to reach out to me and want to talk about their account, I do it. I have talked to numerous people. I've spent hours on the phone. I have yet to find, I see these accounts. I've yet to find one instance of a first-hand account with corroboration to support the allegations. If I find that, then it would influence my vote.
Now, in our reporting, Chris, I can tell you that it's been difficult for lawmakers, for senators, for staff to get in touch directly with women who may have firsthand accounts or even people that Hegseth worked with, because, of course, outside of the allegations that we've seen in this affidavit, there were issues with toxic workplace environments, with his handling of those veterans organizations, financial mismanagement. It's been difficult for these people to come forward, in part because of certain confidentiality agreements that we've uncovered in the course of our reporting here. But in the next few hours, we should have a better sense of where this vote stands tonight, Chris.
So, Garrett, we also have some new information about a payment that Hegseth made to a woman who accused him of sexual assault back in 2017. Tell us about that.
That's right, Chris. It's rare that the questions for the record portion of a confirmation hearing makes much news, but in this case, it was a response from Hegseth's team to a question after the hearing was concluded that allows us to now be able to report that the payment Hegseth ultimately made as part of a settlement agreement with that woman from the 2017 incident was a $50,000 payment made after the fact. Now, you'll remember Hegseth denies any criminal wrongdoing in that case, and the DA in Monterey said that the decision not to file charges was made because that there was not sufficient evidence to prove any crime beyond a reasonable doubt. And Hegseth's attorneys have argued that they believe he was essentially the victim of blackmail by this person following up years after the event. But I think having a dollar figure attached to that settlement agreement, especially in the waning days of his confirmation, is just one more data point that all those fence-sitting senators that Julie was just discussing will have to consider.
So, Jonathan, let's talk about those fence sitters. What do you read into those who won't say yet how they'll vote? Could we be in for a surprise tonight, do you think?
Anything is possible, Chris. Anything is possible. And look, if you are a member of the Republican Party in the Senate, you want to keep your powder dry so as that you don't incur the wrath of Donald Trump, the wrath of Elon Musk, the wrath of any of President Trump's supporters. So that way you can truly make an honest assessment from your own vantage point of how you're going to vote for this. I mean, we saw what happened to Senator Joni Ernst, who at the nomination or the revelation that he was going to be Donald Trump's pick for defense secretary, she came out there very strongly saying that she was troubled by this nomination, given the allegations of sexual misconduct, plus allegations about mismanagement of what Julie was talking about, those veterans organizations. And then Donald Trump unleashed the mob on her. And now she is one of the, we're not talking about her anymore. We're not talking about the potential of her being a no vote against Pete Hegseth, because a few weeks ago, just before the inauguration, she announced that she would support him. So folks keeping their powder dry, in this day and age with Donald Trump's Republican Party, that's probably the wisest thing they could do.
Well, I wonder, do you think, Jonathan, that there are Republicans who are holding their no votes essentially for other controversial nominees who are going to start having their hearings next week? Tulsi Gabbard, RFK, Kash Patel, and they feel like, well, I can't vote no on all of them. Is there a sliding scale? What are you hearing?
Well, no, and I think that that's the calculation that is being made. Maybe some of these people who are staying silent want to stay silent because maybe they're going to vote for Hegseth, but not vote for Gabbard, not vote for Kash Patel, the nominee for FBI director. But again, the one thing I learned from President Trump's first term in the White House is to have an open mind and an even broader imagination. Now that we're in President Trump's second term in the White House, where he has much more experience, much more defined plans of what he wants to do and who he wants around him, anything is possible, Chris. Anything is possible.